With everything that you're doing at that point, like what was that feeling like, just being being in the limelight and wrestling over reality at that Christmas chaos?
Yeah. So like I remember having a conversation. So when I came out the curtain, I had my entrance and all the guys in the ring and the crowd are taking it in like this is something right here. We got something right here. I'm just thinking about the dreaming about something for so long, having all these goals and checking off all these goals leading up to that moment for the debut was like I've arrived. So it felt like, and then to come in as the Rocket, like I'd already found my tangible thing that people grasp and take something of it for themselves, like the Rocket. It was a cool moment. I'll never forget it.
Hey everyone, for the finale of Crash Course, we're going to take a different direction on this episode. Josiah John has been a guest on this podcast, so what's going to happen is the video portion that wasn't shown on the audio only portion will be part one of this episode, and immediately after this, it will be our recording from a couple of weeks back, and we're catching up what happened during that recording and how much reality of wrestling has helped him shape into the wrestler he becomes today. And one more update: merchandise has been launched for quite some time. For those who already ordered, thank you so much for lending a hand in supporting the podcast through something tangible like a t-shirt. But that doesn't mean that sharing this podcast, listening, watching it on YouTube, on Spotify, and on iHeartRadio, sharing this episode, liking the videos that are here on the podcast, that still means so much to me. And I can't wait to see what's going down the pipeline for this podcast as the year draws to a close. But I'm not going to put you any further. Let's get this episode with Josiah John going. How are you, Josiah? How are you doing today?
Doing great. How are you?
Good. So, how was your 2023? Right, because you've been up in the ranks in reality wrestling. Like, how was your year like in 2023?
My year in 2023 was pretty good. As my rookie year in reality wrestling, so it was a lot of going with the flow and expecting the unexpected because it was my first run. So
Right.
and I did a lot of cool stuff. Got to work with a lot of great guys.
And what's interesting too, of course, having Booker as one of your mentors, what was that like? Did you meet him as a fan before being a teacher during that time?
Not during that time, but I did meet him as a fan when I was like 10 or 12 at Comicpalooza. And I remember telling him, I was like, I want to be a wrestler. I'm trying to join your school when I get older. You know, I was telling him my great plans of the future and everything. And then I know for sure he doesn't remember that, but fast forward to then joining the school and then becoming the Rocket. So you can't even, I wouldn't have even thought that all of this would have happened the way that it's been happening, but here we are. So
what's interesting, especially you've had some matches too, against you on ringside. I recall going to an event where you faced Gaspar and you saw Booker on ringside. And what was that dynamic like from being Booker the teacher to basically Booker the adversary in that match?
Yeah, so that was unexpected for me going out there the first time. So it was just like, okay, we're here now, so you just gotta show up because he is, you know, on the other side of the field. So I got to do what I had to do. You were there, you saw what happened, so now I know exactly where he stands. So, yeah.
And as you got through your first year, you know, going through that, what was the training like? Was it hard at first, or was it something that you picked things up as soon as you got your first bump?
Yeah, so I feel like I've been wrestling since high school, so I was already familiar with the punishment on the body. So that wasn't hard for me to get through. The rolls, that wasn't hard for me to get through because we do that in mat wrestling. So I was like, okay, let's just get it. And then I watched wrestling for so long that I pick up on the little things. with how people's footwork, hand placement, all that stuff like that. So it's kind of more natural to me.
And how was that progression like? Was it easy? Did you have some bumps on the road? Like how was that progression like as you got to being on Reality of Wrestling last year?
Yeah, it was well, for myself, it was a lot of bumps on the road. It wouldn't be things that other people notice, but the goals that I have, like the expectation for myself is way higher than the expectation than other people have on me. And then, like I said, being the Rocket, I kind of got pushed way quicker than everybody. So I had to play up in every opportunity that I did have. So those are the challenges of that.
And I'm curious too, like as you started to go under Booker, what advice did he impart to you as you started to really know the wrestling business?
So the one advice that he gave me was, if you really want to make it, you got to be the best. There's no shortcuts. There's no making it by. If you really want to make something out of yourself in this business, you have to be the best. There's no buddy system or anything like that. And like he always says, preparation is the only luck you're ever going to get. So I keep that with me every day.
What was that example? Like, have you seen that real life application with the advice that Booker gave you?
In my life?
Yes.
Yes, of course. Because getting in the matches where I'm the younger guy in the match, but there's a vet. But I've been preparing to be that lead role in said match. So if the vet does slip up, I'm not lost because the vet is lost. Because I'm ready to pick up. Or if they drop the ball here, I can pick it up and we can keep going and doing what we're doing. So that's a wrestling application right now.
It's like there it is. It worked out. It worked out in the end. But also, what was your match of the year in 2023?
For myself?
Yeah, I mean, even whether it's reality or something that you've done besides reality, what was that one match that says, "Hey, I did it"?
All right, so the match for me would be my match against Dante Smiley. It was up in Arkansas. He's the OIWA champion, so he's the leader of that brand. He's holding both titles actually.
Right.
So being in that main event spot with the champion and then competing there, that was like, all right, we can do this. You know, being in that type of caliber match like that.
What was that feeling like as you prepared for that? Like, what was and we talked about that advice. How has that preparation kind of applied into that match that made you say this match is special to you?
Well, I heard about it the first time I was there, and it's like, okay, we're gonna put you in the title match. So, okay, with the champ. All right. So I had about a month to get prepared. So that's what I did. Like in the gym, I was training, I was studying because I knew how I wanted to perform in that match. So, okay, this is what we're doing. We are locked in on this right now. So we're just preparing for that. Then when I got there, like I say, elevate and execute. That's a real thing for me. It's not just a punchline or anything. I elevate and execute and play up to be here with the champ. I don't ever want to be like this or somebody carrying me along. I want to be right there with him. So that's how that went for me. And that's why I say it's one of my match of the year for myself.
That's good. And Last Stand Rumble is premiering on Saturday. And is this your first ever Last Stand Rumble?
No, this will be my second.
Oh.
Last year's Last Stand Rumble, I finished at number 2, final 2.
Ooh,
this year I'm hoping to bring it home. So,
and especially, what have you learned for this Last Stand Rumble compared to your first one? What were some lessons that you've taught that you're going to apply to this Rumble?
In this Rumble, I'm not going to try to solo dolo ride it out. Teamwork make the dream work in these Rumbles matches. You got to try to find somebody. Not maybe just in the match. I would never say plan ahead to have a partner because you never know if they're going to make it. But if there's an opportunity time for us to double team on a couple people, we gonna double team on a couple people because we gotta get to the end. Then we can figure it out in the end when it's 1v1, you know. Because I don't need the Heat trying to mess with me, trying to eliminate me, trying to jump me. I don't need any of those problems anymore.
You're just playing the long game at that point.
Exactly. All I say is make it to the end. All right, make it to the end.
How has conditioning been a good part on participating on a Rumble match? Like how has that been a big factor or lasting? And I think this year it's, I think, 30. And I think the last year was 32. I think that was the number that they had.
Yeah.
That, like, how has conditioning been such an important factor on at least like enduring going through that match?
Yeah, you don't realize when you're in the Rumble, you don't realize how slow time moves in a Rumble. You know, and you're in there for a very long time, it seems like, and trying to keep your wind up so you can keep going and fighting, trying to eliminate guys. You got to keep your wind up, and cardio is king, as everybody says.
Right.
So I do try to do more cardio, more of a CrossFit-esque training. That's the most similar to throwing people and all this stuff. So that's where I try to stay at with my training.
Yeah, especially with Rumbles. Like even this year, I was watching the Royal Rumble this year. Like the amount of people who are in that PLE, and it's amazing. Like especially this year and last year. Like Gunther as an example. He was number one. He went all the way facing Cody. Now, granted, Cody kind of wanted to have his way, but the fact that he's lasted 29 other wrestlers to get to that point is kind of amazing. Do you ever want to be in that position if you do get into a Rumble match where, all right, I'm number one, I'm going to push all the way?
Yeah, I do want to get the Iron Man spot, being number one all the way to the end, just to see if I can do it or prove I can do it more so than anything. That's a tough spot to be in. Like, you saw how Gunther was at the end, looked how he was at the beginning. So that's like, that guy, he's got good conditioning. He's been working for that.
Is that the one guy that you look up to as a wrestler too? Or do you have any other wrestlers that you look up to and saying, hey, I want to be like that person?
Well, Gunther, Sheamus, as far as the workhorses, and then Cody, I look up to Cody as far as branding and everything. But to be honest, when I'm talking about like being a worker, I would say Randy Orton is the guy that I look up to. But,
what were some special features, like even as you watch like matches as Orton and you're studying tape, what makes Orton such a really special wrestler that you aspire to?
How he makes everything so simple and so intricate and detailed at the same time. Like I know fans don't see the little meticulous things that he does, but like when I'm watching this as like for the detail and everything, like he's perfect at everything. His selling, his movements, everything. Was
there a match that kind of stand out as you watched Orton and possibly copy his move? You never know.
No, I really don't. I don't take any moves from Orton, but I do take the footwork and the selling from Orton. He's a very believable seller, and why that is because he sells realistically, not like a pro wrestling sell. He sells like he actually got knocked out and things like that, cracked a rib, stuff like that. Because everybody's been in pain at some point in their life, so just sell like you've been in pain before. So how was it when you hit your rib? What did you do? You clutched your rib. Okay, so stuff like that.
Yeah. And especially with what you're going through in your journey in the wrestling industry, what were some obstacles that you've had that you kind of learned along the way, and what were some rooms of improvement that you kind of encounter as you started going into your wrestling journey?
So obstacles that I've had along the way, I think for me it was trying to do too much. For like I remember the first time I had like. They kind of put me in the leader role. So I was doing everything. I was doing everything. It's like they gave a little kid a paintbrush, and I was just painting away to go, realizing that less is more, and the fans have to be able to digest what's going on, not just see a bunch of things happening at one time. So I try to keep that in mind to take the fans on the ride with me, and then keep them engaged as well, not just be wrestling. You want to acknowledge the fans and bring them in and take them on that ride with you. So, yeah.
Interesting. And what can you improve? And we're going to lead this to another question. Like, what were some improvements that you can improve as you look back in 2023, as you started doing your wrestling grind?
Mm-hmm. So, like, yeah, I actually was just watching a lot of my old stuff recently. There's being engaged with the audience, but not necessarily, I don't mean like just talking to the audience, but being engaged with them, like in my body language and things like that. or even just like a quick glance or something like that, or a point or things like that, keeping the fans with me the whole way. From the moment I break through the curtain to the moment I leave the curtain. I want the fans to feel like they're right beside me, throughout everything.
Especially when you're a face too, like you want to get the audience's sympathy with you. And yeah, we talked about the matches that you had with the ones that I came across, especially with Gaspar. Like you want to root for that guy. And it did happen. You did win one match. It was one match, one time.
Mm-hmm.
And all that one win is going to make the audience go over. So like having, especially if you're a face, like, hey, hey, I'm doing the best that I can. You're getting that win as you go along too. But do you want to plan yourself to becoming a heel?
No, I was planning myself becoming a heel. I would say this: I am a firm believer in winning by any means necessary. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say.
It doesn't matter the route. Oh my goodness. So, but also like, especially with this year, especially 2024, like what are you looking forward to in your wrestling journey?
I'm looking forward to expanding my brand and wrestling other places and other states. That's what I'm looking forward to most, is getting to learn from different people in different areas and stuff like that. Just more exposure to different ideologies of wrestling, things like that.
What's a dream destination that you have in mind? Of course, with reality, it's a nice likely spot to go to an NXT or being in that brand. Like what other destinations do you have in mind? Because oftentimes wrestlers are world travelers. Like what would be that destination or destinations? Because I don't want to put one thing. What would be that spot?
So my spot has always been Japan. That's my destination that I want to go to, because that's a whole nother world there. So I definitely want to go to Japan and try my hand there.
Yeah, it's interesting because you have like the fighting spirit, because especially with the match that you have, I kind of sense the fighting spirit on some of your matches where like you kind of see the person being determined no matter what the outcome is, whether it's a win or lose, but you did it anyway too. And I was thinking like if you can have an opponent or opponents, because I've had previous episode when I put one, they were like, no, I don't know. what would be those dream opponents that you have in Japan?
In Japan, well, he just left Japan, but it's always been Okada for me. Former, a top tier performer like that. So yeah, Okada would be number one on my list.
Okay, and what makes Okada such a unique wrestler that you want to face with down the line?
It makes him unique is his ability to connect with the crowd without using his words. He's more. I know they say Hogan was a good pantomimer, but I think Okada has him beat all across the board with the pantomime and everything. Anybody can understand what Okada's going through in a match with the language barrier or whatever, because of his body language, things like that. And then he doesn't. I'm not gonna say he doesn't do anything crazy, but he doesn't do anything crazy either. But he still is able to captivate an audience like that anywhere he goes.
Yeah, and especially with Okada, I remember watching Forbidden Door for the first time, and I after I watched Okada and Danielson, I wanted to check his other matches in New Japan. And man, that guy can sell. Like, holy crap! Like, it doesn't even matter if it's a punch or a low blow. Like, geez, you can tell he's gonna sell that to the audience, and it's like you want to be along with him. And I remember the one of the rubber matches with Okada and Omega. Like, you can tell, like Omega's doing his thing, but Okada was kind of like the star at that point.
Yeah.
I think that was the third match. I think he won. I think you have to look that up. He won that match, but like during that time, Kenny was pushing. He was very much pushing, pushing. But like Okada, no matter what it is, he's always going to be the shine in that match too, which is kind of which is very, very interesting too. And have you had have you ever had was New Japan part of your influence as you started to wrestle and learning how you're doing it in the business?
Yes, absolutely. Because I remember being in school and I saw somebody with a Bullet Club shirt on. It was like middle school. I'm like, what is the Bullet Club? So that day, I go home and look it up and I find out what the Bullet Club is, and I find Kenny Omega, and along with Kenny Omega, I find out who Okada is, and I start watching all these Japanese matches. and I find the Great Muta, who I take a lot of influence from. To get back to your question, so yeah, a lot of the little things that the Japanese guys do, I like. And then I like that it's more sports based presentation over there. So I try to have that aspect in my match too.
Like, what was that New Japan pay-per-view that made you want to say, hey, I want to do this too?
Yeah, I remember watching, I remember bootlegging Wrestle Kingdom.
It's okay. It's 2024.
Omega versus Okada. I remember trying to bootleg that, and I only got to watch like the first 15 minutes. Like this is it right here. This is the money right here. Just being able to tell a beautiful story through fighting is an amazing thing.
That's nice too. And do you have a New Japan Pro event that you want to be in? When that moment comes, regardless of the outcome, what would be that one event that says, hey, I want to be in that picture too?
Man, it's got to be at the Tokyo Dome, baby. It's got to be at the Tokyo Dome. At the Tokyo Dome, it's got to be Wrestle Kingdom. Yeah, that's what I would like to be. That's where I envision myself being at one day.
Yeah, and
the Kingdom, man.
Oh my gosh, Russell, that'd be great too. Because one time when I was like watching a lot of stuff on New Japan, I kind of like Cork and Hall just because of how like iconic the venue is. The first G1 that I saw a long time ago, and it was one of them was at the Tokyo. I'm like, holy crap, did I miss this event? And it's like, wow, it's such a big venue to have, and seeing all the G1 matches there, it's kind of amazing to see that. So, but otherwise, like, we're gonna go for the fun stuff. Like, what are some things that you're doing off the ring?
Off the ring, when I'm not in the ring, I'll be working out, of course. But beyond that, I like to listen to a lot of music. I listen to a lot of old music. I watch a lot of old movies. That's what's over here. A bunch of movies of the past. So that's my little thing. So like, I got Rocky up here and things like that. And
yeah,
American Gangsters up there. I like to watch movies, so that's my that's my escape.
I'm curious too, like. How are those movies? We're going back to wrestling. With a quick pivot within 10 seconds. How has those films kind of shaped you as someone who's doing wrestling? Like, what were some influences in the movie industry that want to incorporate into your own wrestling persona or your brand?
Well, as far as the more emotional side to wrestling, it's all the Rocky movies I watch. The internal conflict along with the external conflict. I'd like to bring those elements from Rocky, but like American Gangster and all these other movies that got Superfly up here, it's the confidence that those characters carry anywhere they go. I try to bring that with me when I'm making my entrance, So it's like, I don't know what happens when I walk through that curtain, but it's like a completely whole different person. So yeah.
Were you more Rocky or were you more, I forgot the name of the character, or were you more American Gangster as you started to like learning your entrances? Like what kind of stood out?
So yeah, I know I took a lot of influence from Apollo, from the footwork stuff that I do in the ring,
right?
The bouncing, the way I move, but it's just kind of going more American Gangster nowadays. So I don't know. More American Gangster Superfly now because I don't know what's happening to me. But
see, you're segueing into a heel turn. See, look at that.
We win by any means necessary. Remember, we win by.
Oh my goodness.
Any means necessary.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll go with.
It's a business, man. It's a business.
Oh my goodness. So, but. I'm losing my train of thought real quick, but thank you, Josiah John the Rocket, on this episode. And I do want to end this conversation with this. So the World Health Organization listed adolescents between the ages of 10 and 19. Between those age ranges, it's people growing up learning things along the way. Now, if you're in the same room with the young Rocket at age 18, what would you give him as advice, or what would you like to talk to him about? Man,
I would tell him, you know exactly what you want to do. Just go out there and do it. That's what I would tell my 18-year-old self. I spent a lot of time just trying to nah, it's not time. I shouldn't do this. It don't make sense. How am I even gonna do this? I should have just did it a whole lot sooner than I did. But eventually we got there. But I was just telling him, just do it, man. You know you want to do it. So this is the dream. This is the dream, man. Just do it. You won't regret it.
So you're basically like saying, hey, you keep doing what you're doing, and keep doing what you're doing, and just like stay the course that he has already.
All that doubt aside, and just go for it, man.
Okay. Awesome. So, and we are ending Crash Course with a returning guest. I haven't had him since March. It's been 6 months now at the time of this recording. We have Josiah Jean. We have The Rocket. How's it been for 6 months? What happened?
6 months. This has been a lot of grinding, wrestling and more training, more wrestling on shows. So I've definitely made an improvement in 6 months. It's crazy. I didn't think about it until you said it. Just thinking about that gap and what I've been trying to do. So I'm definitely heading in the right direction. So yeah.
What were some highlights that you kind of wanted to look fondly at within those 6 months?
The one I think about the most is wrestling for FSW in Vegas. That's a real highlight of mine. Just being in Vegas in general, my first time in Vegas.
You're trying to dodge my casino tables and all that.
Yeah, probably. Hey man, all I knew was I won some green when I went to Vegas.
Okay. You had your Vegas moment at that point.
I had my Vegas moment. Like I have the moment from Vegas like tattooed on me. Actually, people don't see it because it's covered up, but like, yeah. So just that whole betting on yourself moment that it happened to be Vegas and the gambling and all that stuff. So it meant a lot for me to do that and take that trip.
It's very apropos. Very apropos with that too. So that's kind of like a culmination of what you're doing. So we're talking about reality of wrestling, and how long have you been training over there?
I've been training over here for 2 years now. About yeah. Because I know in December it'll be 2 years wrestling.
Okay.
I debuted at Christmas Chaos, the biggest show for reality wrestling. And I debuted there. So next Christmas Chaos coming up, be 2 years official.
Wow. And kind of like you skirted into having that debut. And with everything that you're doing at that point, like what was that feeling like just being in the limelight and wrestling over reality at that Christmas Chaos?
First of all, it's reality wrestling, the show I watched coming up. I wanted to be there. Not knowing how to get there, but wanting to be there. Like, it's crazy. Because I remember meeting Book at a Palooza in Houston. And I was young, like 10 or something. And I was telling him, like, I'm going to wrestle you one day. Just be ready for me. I'm sure he doesn't remember this conversation, but I remember this conversation.
We'll watch this and we'll have this prior episode before that. So we're all good at that point.
Yeah. So, like, I remember having a conversation. So when I came out the curtain, I had my entrance and all the guys in the ring and the crowd are taking it in like this is something right here. We got something right here. I'm just thinking about the dreaming about something for so long, and having all these goals and checking off all these goals leading up to that moment for the debut was like I've arrived. So it felt like, and then to come in as the Rocket, like I'd already found my tangible thing that people grasp and take something of it for themselves, like the Rocket. It was a cool moment. I'll never forget it. So yeah,
it's just like culmination. It's like building up to that moment, and you're like, wow, everything just. I wouldn't say it fell into place, but it exceeded your expectations.
Yeah, and I do not take it for granted that each time I get to step into the reality wrestling means. This brand really does mean something for me, just from childhood to now training here and now working my way up the card. It means something. It means a whole lot.
Because and we dabbled on your training on the prior episode, but moving forward with every single taping or event that you went to, what was it like to finally just like take that 1% of progress with each of those tapings along with your training?
Knowing what not to do.
Of course.
Like I like to study people, study things. Like I like to watch History Channel shows where they reenact everything and what's going on. So I like to know what to do and what not to do, what to learn from. So when I do come out there, it's like I've done it before, because I've been watching and been studying. So when I do get out there, I'm not making all the rookie mistakes or anything like that, which is why you can position me somewhere with a veteran and I still match up and measure up. I'm not playing under anybody. I'm playing up to their level or even higher than their level. But that's just because of the preparation of studying people before me and things like that. So I kind of had I used to listen to, and I still do actually listen to the Hall of Fame Booker's podcast.
Yeah.
And I was just taking notes of what he was saying because here and there he'll give little tidbits of what to do and what not to do in reality wrestling. So I'm just taking game, and when I get to reality wrestling, boom, I'm here. All right, I know how to do this and not do that, when to do this, when not to do that, and things like that, and just putting it all together into what you see.
Because it's interesting, because now that you're living those notes down the line, and I know we talked about book before, but what was some other advice that you got, whether it's from coaches or your peers? What was that one nugget of wisdom that you got, being at reality over that time?
Well, I'll go from a note from someone else and then a note from book.
Okay.
Someone else was actually pretty close to me. Promise Braxton, very close outside of the ring. She was the first person that really pushed me to be a star and what that is. Because she's everything a star should be. So she was watching me one day at one of the student shows back at the old building. She's somebody you can either be like everybody else, or you can be a star. But she would say you can be a jobber or you can be a star. And I wanted to be a star. So when we had that conversation, it took me aback, like, who just comes up to somebody and says that? But that's why I respected her so much. And like, whenever I need advice, I'm going to go to her because she'll keep it real. So from that point on, that's when I started to create who Josiah Jean was. And then the Rocket came to the mix. And it just all came together. Like every little thing that I do in the ring is intentional because of that, finding that star presentation. So that when you see the Rocket, when you see Josiah Jean, something different about that guy. Or you just remember that one thing that I did. So it's just things like that. And she just helped me with my game on that, like so much, just that piece of advice and really understanding what it is that a star does. Like the advice I give to young people, study the stars, study the people that are on the graphics, that are on the posters, that are on the billboards, people on the commercials, because they're doing something right clearly. So,
right, exactly.
Yeah.
They have something. So
yeah.
They might have done something right there.
But advice that I take from book is do what you do well and what you do well only. So there's no room for error. Like I don't have to think about the things that I'm doing because I do it so well. I can do it blindfolded from any angle with anyone. Just because what I do well, I do exactly what I do well. Success rate 100. But yeah, that's how I feel about that. And that's something I carry just throughout life in general.
Yeah, because I was thinking about that too, especially if you're excelling in what you do. Let's say you're great at ring work. All right, I'll capitalize on this. Okay, work on that from there. Oh, I need to work on my mic skills. Okay, I'll sharpen that, and then that will just fill what you already have in your moveset.
Right. It's like Paul Heyman says, highlight your weaknesses and enhance your strengths. Something along those lines is like you can't leave a thing that you don't think you're good at behind just because you don't think you're good at it. You still need to work on that area. And you need to be the guy, you need to have all these things put together. Like you see a Roman Reigns or Cody Rhodes have all of it together. So it's stuff like that to think about. So I'm loving the journey and the grind and figuring things out, figuring out my cadence in promos or in the ring, finding your step or your voice and just balancing everything. When to do this, when to do that, when to bring it up here or down here. Things like that. I'm enjoying the learning process more than anything. It's very, very, very amazing time of my life to be able to chase my dream and grow and advance in it.
And it's always room for improvement. Because I was thinking about that too, where a match that kind of came to mind was the Gauntlet from last month. Was that last month's show? September, I believe. And you faced AJ Francis.
Yeah.
Now, what was the communication like working with so many people in that gauntlet back in September or back in August? Sorry.
Yeah. It was August. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, the communication, what do you mean? Like between the guys or the back?
Yeah, between the guys, I know it's gonna be hectic, but during that time in the gauntlet, how was that communication like, and where did your training kind of took root in what you're doing in that gauntlet?
Oh, okay, yeah. So honestly, this goes back to the do what you do well and what you do well only. And book tells me that before I go out. 'Cause right out this outside this door is it's a desk, and that's where book sits at right before the curtain. So before you break the curtain, you're gonna see book do what you do well and what you do well only. So I don't second guess myself when I'm out there. And then when it's a lot of guys in the ring like that, you just gotta find your openings and pick your spots. Like Malik did a springboard. I saw my opening, jumped up, boom, needed a head. He's gone. Rumble. Bye-bye. But now when it comes to mixing it up with AJ.
That one, I popped. I gotta admit.
Yeah. I was talking about do what you do well and what you do well only, being able to hit that sidekick from any angle so that he goes all the way over. And I get success from eliminating him. Now, what he ended up doing after that, we got to handle that next month, October 12th. But hey, you need my money.
Exactly.
AJ, I can't wait. I can't wait to get my hands on him. Because I've been waiting for a long time. We were supposed to do this match. He ducked me. We were supposed to settle this a long time ago. But he's been ducking me. But now, the graphics out. So the match is happening. You feel me? So yeah.
There you go. And by the time it'll be done, but we'll see. But I can tell that you're very much hyped up with facing AJ, because that gauntlet was something else. I was very blown away with everyone who contributed with the entire match, all the way down to whoever was that. Who was that? Max? Was that Max who won that?
Yeah, it was Max and Izzy.
Yeah.
At the end. Well, I started training at Live Action Wrestling, the spot in Houston, and that's where I met Ninja Mac. And from training with Ninja Mac, I learned a lot of my basics and my foundational pieces. And then Ninja Mac made the call and pushed me to come to Reality of Wrestling. And from there, that's where I met Kevin. And Kevin gave me the rundown and said, okay. And I was telling myself, we're going to do this. Because this is the goal. We just didn't know how it was going to get here.
Yeah.
But now we're here. We've arrived. Let's get the job done. And now coming in, butted heads with some people, but that's just what happens when you are advancing faster than people would like.
Okay.
And it just comes with the territory of being the rocket. I like to call it the rocket effect, just the advancement and the acceleration of the advancement. It just blows people away. So either they hate on you like an AJ Francis. Because the truth behind the AJ thing, he came to the school one day. You can look on the Facebook page or the Instagram page. He came to school one day when I was training with a few people before the class starts. Then he sees me train. He has some words for me and that. Then we go to the promo class. I cut my promo, and then he saw me for real. He saw me in the ring. All right, who is this kid? And he saw me in the mic. Okay, who really is this kid? Then fast forward, he comes to Reality of Wrestling. I see him in need. I go to help him. But then he steals the win for me. It's just stuff like that. That's what I mean when,
Because like when you were working, because you were facing Zeke too for the America's Championship with APW. And
Zeke,
to have that to wrestle to wrestle over at APW at that moment of time, and with the training that you have with Reality leading up to that America's Champion title shot with Zeke, like how much did that much of your training become where where it's needed to work with someone like Zeke over at APW. That makes sense.
Yeah, it was another opportunity for gold. I took it very seriously. And I left vacation a week early to go back into camp for that match. So I took it seriously. It was a title match for the America's title. It was my first time in APW, and it meant something to me because I pay attention to the scene, and APW is a hot spot for wrestling.
Okay.
And I wanted that match. Of course, I didn't take the title home, and I wish I did. And I wanted the rematch, but Zeke doesn't have what I want anymore.
Ah, okay.
So from a business standpoint, is it, as far as, making fights, is it worth it to have that match again with Zeke? I believe he's on a hiatus right now, actually, Zeke.
Yeah, I think so. He's been wrestling in and out. So
Okay.
he has she has some shows that he's working. So
yeah, because
based on that too.
That's definitely a rematch I would like to have. So I'm not the same Rock I was then. And we both felt each other out and kind of know what it is. Because I brought it to him. But like the champion, he brought it back to me. And he finished the job. Fair game. Fair game. Fair game. I have respect for Zeke. So if Zeke does step back in the ring, I would love to have that rematch. But of course, the goal is to be what? The champion. So of course, whoever is the champion, The Rock is knocking on the door. If you catch my drift. Okay.
Right. And I'm going to ask this too, because I brought this up with Ryan and seeing the banners over there by the rafters. And is there a type of sentimental or significant feeling whenever you look at those guys like Sammy Guevara, the Usos, Roxanne Perez, BK? Like, when you look at that rafter and you're seeing all these guys, where does that hold your place in your heart whenever you're training in reality?
It actually does mean a lot when I see those banners, because I've been in the trenches with some of those guys. I've trained with some of those guys. The hard training sessions, where everybody's sweating, the AC's not on, people are pushing it, and you're seeing how hard these guys work, and you want to be better than that. And those guys are the standard, what it means to be a star in reality of wrestling. A guy who did it quick, Blake Cortez, Draco Anthony in NXT. I love training next to him because he pushed it. He pushed me. He pushed everybody in the room. And we would be in the gym at 5 a.m. training again, doing cardio. At 5 a.m., no one's there. No one asked us to be there, but we were training just because we wanted to be better. I think about the times grinding out with Brian Keith, drilling and taking those beatings and those licks to really understand what it means to have that grit when you're in the ring, as far as from a technical aspect to a fighting aspect, and being ready for a fight. And like that, those grinding methods, like you brought up the Zeke match, and like that was where my head was. So from those training sessions with Brian Keith, the ground and pound, and staying on top of the guy. And Ryan Davis is up there too, another guy I've trained with. Means a lot too, because he was one of the guys in the beginning that were on my side and wanted to see me succeed. I wrestled Ryan on a handful of times, and every time we go at it, it's magic. One, because we respect each other, but two, because we're going to go at it and we're going to fight. And I respect that man to the utmost. Ninja Max up there, another guy that I wrestled, but the guy that also played a part in me being here in reality wrestling. So, of course, Ninja Mac being up there before I break that curtain to go backstage or to the gym means a lot, too. Sam Guevara, the guy I met when I did Ring of Honor, and just watching his vlogs back in the day and seeing him start from the ground, and now he's up in the skies. And that's just, it's inspiring. Meeting the Usos when I did SmackDown a few times, just from the ground all the way up to stars, and seeing them become champions and now singles champions and stars like that. And then Athena in Berlin, if you will, training with her at her school and learning so much from her and just getting knowledge from her, helping me become better. So anytime I go to Dallas and stop by her school, just go learn from her. So yeah, those banners do mean something. They do hold weight because those guys are the standard for what it means to be reality wrestling. All of those guys at the top of their game. So yeah, it means a whole lot.
And they impacted you so much in your own training. Like, what was the constant what's the constant theme looking up to those guys? What was that constant, like, advice, wisdom, or what have you that you've come to know as a wrestler in your own career?
From a combination of all of them is do the work. Like, they're all stars, they're all always training. You got guys in the no harm, no foul, but you have guys that are just starting that don't come to train. But then you got champions, people doing it big, and they're coming to train and still coming to train to this day. So it's to do the work. You want to be the best, you have to do the work. And that's everybody up and down those banners. Duke, talking to Duke and everything, Duke Hudson. So yeah.
Because it's interesting, because I was looking at that band, I'm like, man, like, to see their names be up there. I'm sure, give it time, you'll have your own spot.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt at all.
Yeah, and when that moment comes, you're like, yeah, look at that. It's right there, somewhere in between the Usos and, somewhere in between by Ryan Davis. You never know.
Yeah.
Because and we're going to be close to wrapping. I'm going to ask this too. And you mentioned Ring of Honor, your time in Ring of Honor. One thing that I kind of noticed is having that sneak peek into the big show during the Arlington residence with Ring of Honor. Like, what was that feeling like, seeing the big leagues at that time at the Ring of Honor?
Yeah. Okay. So 2023, end of 2023, I made a goal that I was going to be there, and I ended up doing it twice.
Okay.
That was another goal. Like, I swear, anything I've ever said I was going to do, I've done it. So I'm just going to keep, believing in me. But being there was just cool to see the backstage environment. Everything's ripping and running and doing your job, being able to fulfill your role and do your job well. And then meeting Tony and then getting that head nod of approval just meant something, especially at the time of my career. I'm still in the beginning stages. So it just held some weight, really, just being there. The fact that they called me, So yeah, it meant a lot, and I'll never forget it. And
what was like was there any feedback from the guys and the gals in the locker room? Were there any people who are open to, like, opening up to your critiques after the match when you did it during your time at Ring of Honor?
Yeah, everybody there is very open to give advice and talk to. Like, it was really, with whatever you get, making the most out of it, but also taking in the moment and actually being present in the moment was some of the biggest things there. So yeah.
Okay. So, and I was gonna think about this, and first of all, thank you, Rocket, for taking the time for having this second time having you on. And I want to picture this scenario to you. So let's say you're at a reality or wrestling show or some other event, and a fan just casually walks up to you, hopefully getting merched. Hopefully that's just to show support to what you have.
Yeah.
But if they ask you, hey, I wanna become a wrestler, and when they ask you that question, what would you like to talk to them about being a wrestler?
So they ask me, they want to become a wrestler, they don't know how?
Yeah,
I actually get that question a lot through my social media, because I post a lot of training things. People ask me about training here and there. And I always tell people, find a school that will get you to where you want to be, depending on what your goals are. then once you get to that school, be dedicated to the training programs and working on your body. Don't leave anything up for question. Whether it's just promos, in-ring, physique, your look, your gear, invest time into that because all those things matter. You want to be as complete as you can be, no matter what your goals are. So I truly believe that. And that's what I tell people. So, yeah.
Okay. And what makes reality that choice?
The lineage that it has and the team that's running it. Of course, you got 2 Hall of Famers that own it and are here on a weekly basis. You got head trainers, some of which are on the banners and things like that. And then the partnership with NXT. If this is your goal is the NXT. Partnership with NXT does bring more opportunities and things like that. And then the relationships that we have with other companies as well, I can impact things like that. So it's very much a connected company. And as far as the volume of the eyes that are on this place, and the reality wrestling name holds weight, and it means something to say that you were trained at reality wrestling or trained with, because the list of people, of notable people that have come out of this school, such a big, vast list. It means a lot. You got them everywhere in Texas, on TV, on the independents, top of the independents, reality wrestling is where they got their start at.
Yeah, I was going to ask that too. You brought up NXT being part of what reality is, like, especially for you and what you're doing. How is that going to improve what you're doing as a wrestler over time, working with NXT along with reality wrestling?
Yeah, it's really reality wrestling like a stepping stone to NXT, and you're having NXT talent in the ring as well, but you're also having NXT producers and things like that backstage, helping guide you to get to the point of an NXT caliber match or NXT style of how the show is ran. So anytime they're here, I got my ears open. I'm just listening and learning, just kind of show them. And then of course they're watching, so that holds a lot of weight too. So yeah, it's definitely, it's the extra kick, and I'm always good with that. I love the pressure of having eyes on me. I love that. So yeah.
So, but I have nothing left to give. You have the floor. Where can we find you, and what's upcoming with what you're doing in your own wrestling right now?
Yeah, you can find me on all social medias at It's John Rock. That's ITSJEANROCK. All social media platforms. Up next with me, I'll be at Tomahawk tomorrow. Actually, tomorrow. It's got a ladder match coming up, so we'll see how that all plays out. Then I got, of course, the match with AJ. Finna handle that piece of business because, and I've been talking about them throughout the podcast because that's really been something that's been on my mind, and that's what I've been training to prepare for a match like that. So again, the pressure we were talking about, but I thrive under the pressure, so I'm ready for that match with AJ. I'll be at Hurricane next month. That's for October. And I got some other stuff that I can't really announce yet. So, but yeah, so we're doing good as far as 6 months back to now. We're doing good.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. It's literally a rocket. You're basically taking off from our conversation, and you had the last Stand Rumble, and then you had so many TV tapings. I was there at the Gauntlet match. That was the only time I actually finally got to see you a bit more better, because I did a couple of shows I was focusing on a lot of the other guys, but this one with the Gauntlet, I was like, wow, I have to watch you. I have to watch you against AJ and seeing how the crowd popped when you knocked them off the Gauntlet. So you just blew my mind, and hopefully, better things down in your career. So I really want to appreciate you having on for the second time. So hopefully the next 6 months you'll be an NXT star by then, right?
Yeah. Let's do it. The next 6 months we'll do it again.
Exactly. So we'll end our conversation here, but before we end our series, huge thank you to Kevin Bernhardt, who helped out with the entire scheduling for this series. And thank you so much for Book to have this season with Crash Course. So hopefully I'll highlight another wrestling school down the line. So if you are interested in conversations like this, whether it's wrestling school or anything like that, don't forget to subscribe to this podcast, whether it's on Spotify, YouTube, or on iHeart. And we'll be back to our regularly scheduled programming the next week. And as always, thank you so much for tuning in, and we're on to the next one. Bye.